content is not for XRP doubters. This is for who understand this technology and the underlying value of this asset, because next 10 to 20 minutes will help you envision the upcoming future by connecting information from different documents, say from synthetic central bank digital currency. Some actually says DLT based wholesale central bank digital currency. But beyond the terminology used by everyone, the core concept of using central banks' liabilities to back a new asset and the expected benefits from this innovation looks similar. So now let's listen to Dilip Rao, who actually states what XRP was designed for.
So the use of XRP is probably threefold. I guess I told you about two of them already, as a substitute for nostros, as a bridge currency, and initially it was also a mechanism to stop denial of service attacks on the network. So really, it was never designed for buying coffee. So our positioning for XRP is really as a wholesale digital asset. And XRP is really as a wholesale digital asset.
So when we hear this, what should we understand about a wholesale asset in this central bank digital currency era, right? So when they actually state this, it is designed to deal with wholesale payments. What type of implementation will come afterwards, we don't know, right? So what will be coming true is still something of confusion. But in order to reduce that confusion, we need to read and understand different aspects. So don't worry, we'll actually take you through all these different points directly from these documents, and we will read and discuss through it together, so you will actually understand what a wholesale CBDC means and how a DLT based wholesale CBDC changes this aspect. So just watch till the end and you will understand what really is happening from the end of central banks. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. Now, if you are a long-term holder and you would like to grow your portfolio without compromising the number of units of your asset which you have, you can consider crypto banking facilities. Some, like Nexo, gives 10% interest on fiat and stable coins, and if you are waiting for a price level to buy, then you would actually like to shift into a stable coin right before jumping into your favorite asset at the preferred price. You would actually hold or wait in a stable coin. So at that aspect, it's kind of okay or a cool option. Or 5% for your assets like XRP, XLM and others as listed in here. Now this is Nexo. I don't have any affiliate links with them. Then this one from crypto.com, it actually shows up to 8%. So there you can kind of consider these type of banking facilities, which actually gives you, if you're considering next 3 to 5 years or 10 years staying here, holding this asset, reaping that huge profit without, overcoming that. We all need to overcome that temptation. If the price is swinging 100%, 200% to the upside, we actually need to keep calm, right? So say for example, you have 100 units and now you're only considering to take out profit for 10 units in the next 2 years, another 10 units in the next 1 year. So in that aspect, you can actually consider this as a perfect option, one to gain interest and the next one to actually suppress the temptation to take out the profit. Now you even get the option for compounding what you can actually get on interest. So that actually, everyone knows it's considered like the 7th or 8th wonder is compounding in the financial world, right? So we actually consider like that. So if that option is cool for you, then yes, you can actually jump directly into that. So now jumping back into the topic, we actually understand that it was actually designed for an entire new landscape, meaning for banks and financial institutions. That is actually a wholesale use case, right? So in this particular article, it actually shows towards a central bank digital currency. Now they are considering retail versus wholesale. So they actually go through different aspects like Libra. And first thing what we have to understand is when the announcement of Libra came, in an interview or a stage on which Brad Garlinghouse actually stated this, that after the announcement of this one, Libra, a lot of banks, financial institutions were actually in contact with them asking what we can do next. Because the Libra announcement came as a surprise for many, stating that, the Libra guy was stating like, if we are successful, then the Western unions of the world may go bankrupt. So in that aspect, they were actually worried and they reacted like which way they can actually follow, and they actually understood that there is an asset class and there is a company, Ripple, which from IMF, BIS and everyone is actually stating that. And then that asset class, which kind of goes through the regulatory aspects, which uses the KYC, AML and all the other aspects. So that is the reason why we saw a push more towards Ripple and its class. Right now in this document, when we come down, they talk about the central bank digital currency and it talk about different aspects. But as we move further down, they actually discuss detail about retail CBDC and a wholesale CBDC. Now here in the wholesale CBDC, when we can actually read it, is kind of, it is used for payments and settlement efficiency, meaning it is to improve payments and securities settlement. If you remember, in yesterday's video we actually went through securities settlement, the back end processing of that area, which is quadrillion-dollar market, and then the payments area, it itself is like 250-300 trillion dollars in payments. That's just the cross-border payments. Now there is a lot more to it, right? And this is also being used to reduce the counterparty credit and liquidity risks. Now we also know that existing banking system is currently facing these issues, and due to the pandemic it's kind of being leveraged. It's increasing in multiples, so the banks are really facing hardships to actually follow up. So a value-based wholesale central bank digital currency would replace or complement reserves at a central bank with a restricted access digital token. So when we talk about central bank reserves being changed into something else, what it can be? With a restricted access digital token. So I don't know, but this can actually pop out, say we have 50 billion in escrow, and someday it can be stated like, these are actually being allocated to these guys, and you can actually buy into that. So this is the only area which is a circulating supply now, which retail guys can actually buy in. So after watching this, I actually bought a couple more bags of XRP, because if they are to announce that tomorrow, then I can actually, say for example, buy more and more, because all of them will be FOMOing in and the circulating supply will be eaten up. And I don't actually want to lose my target of reaching a precise goal of, say for example, this much XRP as my holding for next 10 years. I don't want to miss that. Then as we move to the downside, they actually talk about the wholesale CBDC is the most popular proposal among the central banks. And when they actually talk about that, you also have to consider wholesale financial system faster, inexpensive and safer. Now, when we actually look into this, we have to understand that who experimented in this. Canada, that is good. Then Singapore, even cool. Japan, even cool. Euro. So as we move further, what we can see is these are central banks who have been working with Ripple, getting guidance from Ripple and understanding what can be done with this technology. So a coordinated CBDC approach, they actually consider everything. It's not only in that aspect, right? In everything they are considering, they have to actually use the liquidity which is trapped in on the Nostro accounts, and they can use a real-time settlements all the time. So if you're still thinking about what a wholesale CBDC means, if it is directly issued by a central bank, it shouldn't be kind of competing with the commercial bank. Instead, it should be wiping out these ordinary banks, right? Whereas it states here the wholesale CBDC, however, will still have to compete with upgraded legacy systems. Both central and commercial banks should therefore take a cautious approach when building completely new alternatives. So that means it's something entirely new to the existing infrastructure. So the plumbing is being laid out. We know that different banks are actually getting into this. Now in this document, it actually goes through, it details a lot of things, but when we directly come into the page number 10 here, we get to see this diagram. In this particular figure, what you understand is central bank issued, okay? This green circle. When you actually look into that, you can actually see central bank digital tokens, wholesale only. So there is something which is there, and then private digital tokens, wholesale only, which takes up in this digital area a large space here. And then private digital tokens general purpose, that is here you see that small area, because it is also connected with widely accessible area here. So there is something to catch there. It means that is widely accessible, a small portion, but the other thing is not widely accessible. It is in a token based economy. It is getting touch or connected with the central bank issued assets. So in a token based economy, there will be central bank issued items. Currently it's cash. Now it will be actually going into different aspects in which we have digital tokens, general purpose digital tokens, and wholesale only. And you can see that compared to central bank digital tokens, which is general purpose, the next area is looking really small. So as per them, we can understand that what Brad's actually stated previously will actually come true, meaning 90% or majority 99% of what is existing in the cryptocurrency market will be wiped away. So if you're not in a correct asset, then yeah, you may actually lose your money. Now yes, investing is risky, but the risk is actually compensated when you actually do the fundamental analysis properly and get into an asset which has a future value, right? So when we look at that in a different aspect, say this is an article stating about Bank of France talking about Ethereum and XRP. Now yes, here they actually highlights Ethereum and XRP as two crypto assets that could be used to issue tokenized central bank digital currencies. So looking at this figure, now we have some kind of idea after hearing about the wholesale aspect of this. Now this is from Bank of France, right? And if we actually look into similar one, say this is from Bank of France itself. So when we actually go into that, we understand this. While most recent announcement is agnostic about technology, a paper released by the bank last year entitled Central Bank Digital Currency 1, 2 or None. It actually go through a wholesale central bank digital currency which will be leveraging a distributed ledger technology. So at that particular point, we kind of reach here. So at first they have this one, wholesale, then retail, then the hybrid, and then DLT based retail or wholesale. So this can be kind of a synthetic form or some kind of new thing which they are coming up with by adopting many things as much as possible. Now what you have to understand is when they talk about Ethereum here, I personally get a bit confused because Ethereum is not that scalable. Because when you actually go through this area, here they actually okay, now the heading here, it is about the key opportunities and this is about the key challenges or alternative solution. And in that one for DLT, you can actually see this one, right? Systems at scale. So including lack of widespread technical talent, the track record for distributed ledger technology systems at scale. So the track record for Ripple, the network, and XRP, the ledger, is no one can actually come on top of that. As of now, there is no other system which can actually overdo it. So based on that, I just think if they are going to do that, then that's going to be something different, because proof of work is completely taken out, at least for me, after seeing that the double spend risk. That's not going to work anywhere near the central banks. So when the BTC maxis come out stating this, I'll actually show them this thing and then this thing, because it shows potentially slower transaction verification process and lower scalability depending on network scale, size and consensus algorithm. So this can be taken out. So for me, Ethereum as of now, even if they're shifting into proof of stake, it's nowhere near XRP. In last video we actually showed you the upgraded scalability of Ripple network, right? So the XRP can actually handle 65,000 plus transactions per second. That is based on 2019, June 2019, because before 1 year. So after that, if they have actually upgraded the system, they would be coming up with much more options, right? So in this side, the opportunities area, we can actually see that they are actually looking at interoperability for central bank digital currency with retail payment providers and infrastructure. Read that again. Potential for low-cost interconnectivity or interoperability with central bank digital currency. Now come back and look at this figure. You'll actually see that how this is going to work. Digital economy a tokenized economy, a central bank issued economy, where it is kind of liabilities of central bank which is being backed by the new asset class will be backed by the central bank liabilities, and everything will not be widely accessible. Now if you are actually seeing the big picture here, then you may actually understand what exactly is actually coming out, because here also it's mentioning 6 central banks have actually clubbed together to do this research. And when you actually look at which central banks are doing that, it's ECB, Bank of Japan, as well as Bank of Canada, England, Switzerland, and then you see Bank of International Settlements there. So in the previous one we saw IMF, BIS together. So when we actually understand that these have been previously talked about, and majority of them actually goes in detail with that. In this research article, this is SCIS in 2020. So this is a new one talking about the cryptography and IT systems. So here when they actually talk about the wholesale central bank digital currencies, when we come down we can actually understand which country are adopters, early adopters, who are actually following them, and then who are slow and coming late. So here you can actually see Bank of England, Bank of Canada, Singapore, Hong Kong Monetary Authority, Brazil, US Fed. But Fed is kind of lagging way behind others here. If you look at the symbol R here, you can actually see publish some research, but there is no immediate plan for proof of concepts, whereas others have actually done that. They are completed. Here these are being showing here, they have ongoing POC efforts, so they are even ahead than the Fed as of now, because this document is not that old. It is kind of giving you the idea where these are, right? And these are actually entering the space by 2018-2019. Now it's 2020. This article came out in 2020, right? So they actually covered these aspects. So when we actually see these central banks, the name of these central banks in these documents, we actually have to understand they've been studying that, right? Now this is the wholesale central bank digital currency. So here you can actually see that it's similar to the reserve and settlement balance at a central bank. So it is accessible only by authorized financial institutions such as CMBs or high value customers who are participants of central bank's interbank payment settlement system. So again, coming back, you can actually see that widely accessible is something different, and those who are privileged having that high value, they will be using that. So here in this idea, you can actually say this one, wholesale central bank digital currency is issued, distributed, stored and maintained solely by a central bank or an entity designated by the central bank to perform such action. So it's not only a central bank coming out and issuing this. So automatically this kind of gives you an idea what we talked previously about SCBDC, which is synthetic central bank digital currency, where the digital currency was being issued by a private entity, which is in a partnership with the public-private partnership of central bank with the private entity. So here also you're getting something similar, an entity designated by central bank. Let's see who central banks will be doing, how they are actually going to work on this one, because if you actually remember previously, we actually talked about Ethereum network and XRP network, right? Then they actually talked about how to move from one to another. Now yes, coming back into that, all transactions relating to this one are processed by a central bank again, or an entity designated by central banks. So it's not only that token is issued and distributed and stored and maintained by, chances are, by a designated entity from the central banks. It's also all the transaction related to that are also processed by so now it's clear, right? An entity designated by central bank. At least for BTC and Ether, we don't actually have that entity who can actually do these payments for them. At least they are not well reputed, at least they are not well recognized. Like Ripple, the company stands for XRP the asset, right? And then at the bottom when you come, you can actually see transactions has no anonymity requirement, as all participants in an interbank payment system must be pre-registered, authenticated and authorized by a central bank in order to access and conduct interbank payment settlement on this network. So that is kind of clear. So we are entering a new era where everything is going to be new. Now when we try to understand more about this particular initiative for the wholesale market, we can actually see this: central banks may partner with financial institutions to introduce digital currencies within 5 to 10 years. They are talking within 5 to 10 years, and that was back in 2019 June. And what are they actually talking about? Universal adoption of central bank digital currency through a wholesale approach. And why this is coming up? Because it gives you real-time payments faster and more secure. Now that's just the intro of that one. Now when you come down, what you can see is, the important aspects here is wholesale central bank digital currency, on the other hand, being built on state-of-the-art technology, which is the best technology till now. We actually understand that, right? Will feature a 24/7 instant payment across the borders with settlement finality. Okay, that's another hint. And when you actually move down, you can actually read further, and they also talk about each payment's fee, $25 to $35. Even if it is a small fee, it's not that small for everyone. When you are transacting $100, you have to pay this one. That is huge. Now they are comparing what is previous and what can be the future. If you see the corridor here, it's from Euro to US, and that looks something cool, because say for example, if it is actually working like this, it can directly be XRP, or it can something which is built on interledger protocol going through interledger protocol. That means if a digital euro is being transmitted from a Europe and then digital dollar is received at this end, you are definitely needing a bridge asset in between. So in an interledger protocol DLT based approach, you will be moving value and you will be needing a bridge asset, and we know what bridge asset will be there. Like, if you actually need real-time payments, you are never going to use Ether or BTC and other coins which don't have that ability to do that instantly with low fees. And you also have to consider the scalability, because when central banks are going to do that, they're not going to do 10, 20 or 100 transactions per second. It will be massive. Now that won't be in one corridor, it will be universal, right? All majority of the central banks will be doing that, and that's why we can actually see Ripple, the company, working with them 40-50 central banks. And whenever they are talking about this, you can actually understand different time zones, liquidity trapped in pre-funded Nostro accounts, 24/7 transaction settlement. Whenever we are hearing the same, this is not the first time we are hearing this. Just the difference is, previously this was being stated by executives from Ripple. Now it is being stated by the giant corporations around the world and central banks. So there is something in between. Ripple, the guys from Ripple are actually talking to everyone in the financial industry, and now these guys are actually reflecting what Ripple, the company, is stating. So that is actually a positive news for us. Now this is from World Economic Forum, and we actually went through this. So when you actually consider the wholesale approach here at the top, domestic wholesale CBDC may not add value to domestic interbank payments. So that is when it is general. And when you move into a DLT based, we actually discussed how you need the scalability of that asset and higher transaction verification process. Yesterday we detailed that, right? Why we need that? Because we have an issue of TPS per second. Ether cannot actually provide that. So when Bank of France actually come out and state that one, you don't actually need to get confused. You just have to look at the technology, which technology can actually provide this better. And then the bridging the payments gap, how you will actually bridge that one. And they talk about European Central Bank and a virtual currency that can be defined as a type of unregulated digital money, which is issued and is usually controlled by its developers and is used and accepted among members of a specific virtual community. So that advantage of private digital sphere is still there. So everyone is actually considering that. And we talked about Libra, right? So we don't actually want to go into much detail about that. So for those who have watched till the end, till here, these are some extra takeaways. Token based economy and a central bank digital currency. And when you're actually moving within that, you get what is this? What is innovative about this one? So in the wholesale aspect, you can actually see regarding to electronic central bank reserves, which will be for domestic and for cross-border, foreign financial institutions could hold accounts of digitized central bank money. And then the next key point is transaction verification, because that one is really important, because they talk about the double spend problem, showing that other networks which actually works on proof of work is never gonna be inside this one, because it's gonna be having a lot more issues. And then you come here, transaction validation for central bank digital currencies can occur with a single party, such as a central bank validating transaction, or in a decentralized manner with multiple parties. And when they detail that, the validating parties are nodes in a system which reach agreement is consensus on a transaction validity in a decentralized manner in a consensus algorithm. I don't think you guys need much more explanation to understand where this is taking you guys, right? So if you actually understand this, you can actually go through all these documents, and I'll try to put all of these information in the description so that you guys can actually go through it, read yourself, and get to a conclusion based on your ability of understanding this. Now, if you understand what I've talked through this episode, you will understand the key elements or the key findings if you actually go through the same documents. So if you like the content, hit that like button, and if you're new here, do hit that subscribe button. Thank you for supporting the channel. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.